Nope, not a lot of good these days out in East Rutherford, but there's plenty of bad and a whole lot of ugly, if that's what you want to talk about. And I think that's what Craig Santucci of NYGiantsRush.com and myself will talk about today on the Giants Guys. This is John Fennelly. I'll be your host. And sit back and enjoy the show. We're going to talk for maybe about an hour or so. Probably won't get everything in, but enjoy.
Giant fans that have supported us for more than 30 years at Giant Stadium, for all those years in Yankee Stadium, and some of you even back to the Polo Grounds. This is for you. This is for you.
Listen to me. Okay, the rest of your life, man, nobody could ever tell you that you couldn't do it, because you did.
With the second pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley, running back, Penn State.
Craig, how you doing today?
There's no good, there's a lot of bad, and there is ugly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Everywhere. On and off the field.
Not only off the field, just driving to work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a very surreal season if you're a Giant fan, because you watch every week and you're like, hey, we could win this game. And then it just doesn't happen.
Oh, no.
A 33-year-old running back rumbles 64 yards. He's running like he's running underwater, and nobody can catch him.
So I got to be, transparent with you. I was in Maryland this weekend at a lacrosse tournament with my son.
Good for you. You didn't watch the game. So
well,
I added some years to your life.
It did, but it didn't on the other side of the coin, because, I'm driving back from Maryland. I'm listening to the game on the radio. I almost drove off 95 into the river when Ingram drops that pass, because I've had it.
It went right through his hands. It went right through his arms.
I should have rephrased it as missed the ball.
He missed it. It's a whiff.
A whiff. Yes, thank you. Because here's the thing. I want to like the kid. He's got really exceptional elite tools. But at the end of the day, if you're a tight end in the NFL, there's two things you got to do: block, and you got to catch the ball. And if you can't do either one, you're just in the way. You're just clogging up the system. And I don't know how patient you could be with a guy who can't catch the ball.
We're going to find out. I mean, they've got him for another 2 years after this, maybe 3. He is a first-round pick, so you get to, get that 50-year option on him. He's got to start catching the ball. Here's
the thing. I don't know a guy I've ever seen that has the dropsies all of a sudden stop dropping the ball. Like it's something that's ingrained in him.
Well, Tiki Barber had, ball control issues, ball security issues.
I was going to say, Coughlin fixed them with the fumbling. But, this guy just, whether it's focus or, it's not like he's got small hands or he's not fast or he's not big. It's just not there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not there. And to know that this guy at a pivotal part of the game and he's a pivotal part of the offensive game plan can't catch.
Yeah.
It's a huge problem because,
Yep.
I mean, again, I can't see it because I was listening on the radio, but the ball to go right through your hands when you're wide open, that speaks volumes about what's going on between your ears.
And when it's 4th and 3, it hurts 10 times as much, and you're practically at midfield. You know?
Yeah.
That was a killer play, because that extends the drive. You know, maybe they go down and score some points. Instead, Washington did.
I will say that I thought, again, I can't see it, but the defense really seemed like they had a good week on the field. Like, Collins seemed like, he had one of his best games of the week, of the season. And they, we talked about this last week. They were a top 10 pass team and a top 2 or 3 defensive team. The defense did what they were supposed to do. Would you agree with that?
For the most part, but, I did write an article today in USA Today about the big plays they give up.
Yeah.
Down in and down out, they stop you. They force you to punt, but then they give up ridiculously big plays at the wrong time of the game.
Now,
insane.
Is that because they're on the field the whole game?
No. If you look at the time of possession, they're like almost 30 minutes a game, 29, 25 or something. So it's not that they're on the field too long. It's just that, there's lapses, I guess. They get lazy. The communication gets a little lax. Maybe the packages are wrong. Maybe they don't have enough guys to cover the play that's being run. To let Adrian Peterson run 64 yards against you, right down the sideline, too. Nobody could push him out of bounds. It's insane. Yeah. I don't know if you saw the play, but it looks like he's running underwater. Guy's 33 years old. He was surprised nobody was around him.
He was even surprised.
He thought the whistle blew, I think. He was like, this can't be happening. Oh, it's happening. And that was a backbreaker because, you only lose the game by a score, and that's the score. Because in the fourth quarter, the offense comes alive. The first half, they don't score at all. Their offense is atrocious in the first half.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that has been consistent for quite some time. You can't score touchdowns in garbage time every game. It's almost like they've decided not to do anything to the, midway through to the fourth quarter because the coaches are desperate, the players are desperate. I don't know what it is, but you got to come out of the chute and hit somebody in the face. You got nothing to lose.
They don't. They come out flat as pancakes, 3 and out. Maybe they get a first down here or there. But there's no creativity, from the opening gun. Well, first of all, you win the toss and you defer every game. Do it all the time. Why? Yeah. You want to start the game? Why do you want to start the game on defense? Oh, we'll get the ball in the second half. No, you can get the ball right now.
And score.
Yeah. Why don't you do that? Start doing that once in a while and see how that works. Because I think they're like 7-32 when they win the toss, and I don't know if those are the right numbers, but it's something like that. When they win the toss and defer. That's insane. What are you doing it for? It's not working.
So here's an interesting stat for you, right? Cam Newton is having his best year in like 3 years, since like 2015, right? Guy's got 66%, he's 66%. He's having a great year. He's revitalized. What's the main difference in Cam Newton from, now to last year, the year before?
I don't know. I've only seen one game with Carolina, maybe 2 games. I'm going to say that Christian McCaffrey is probably one reason why.
Okay,
I think that his offensive line is probably better.
Okay, I'll give you that. There's one glaring thing that's different.
Tell me.
Mike Shula.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. You're right. So, Mike Shula, who runs what we call a horizontal offense that handcuffs all his key players.
So I'm not this big Cam Newton guy. I'm with the antics with the hat and the glasses and all that stuff. I'm just not into the post-game hats and the glasses and all this stuff. But there is something to say that the guy was terrible the last 2 years. He's having his best year as soon as Mike Shula leaves.
Yep.
I mean, it's definitely, to me, speaks volumes on, Cam Newton. We all know what kind of talent he could be. And we all know when he's got a healthy Greg Olsen what kind of player he can be.
Right.
And then with McCaffrey, well, here we are with the same type of, as you just said, horizontal, boring, predictable offense, and nobody's giving Mike Shula any heat.
Except for me.
Yeah, it's beside myself because I've already had numerous people say, oh, it's Shermer. Well, I'm sorry, unless you're a CEO or a VP of the company, you don't really understand the dynamics that goes into building a business. Because when you're the president of the company, you don't have time to be involved in every intricate part of that business. You hire people to do it for you. So while Shermer calls the plays, the research, the film study, and the implementation and the game plan is designed by Shula, and then he hands it over to Shermer, and Shermer blesses it. There's not enough time in the week for Shermer to comb through, 70, 80, 100 plays to pick them out if they're good or they're bad. He has to rely on his offensive coordinator to have done the homework and to deliver him a good game plan. So now I've got a bad game plan. I got a bad offensive coordinator, and I've got Shermer who's not saying, you know what? Maybe this isn't working.
It's obviously not working.
Not obvious to Shermer.
Well, you know what? He's going to coach himself right out of here if he keeps this up. The Giants, let me tell you, this is going to be the 5th losing season in 6 years. Okay, and I know they just cleaned house and blew it all up and whatever you want to talk. They didn't blow it all up, but they blew a lot of it up. This guy has to coach this team better than he's coaching it. I don't think he's doing a good job at all. And his assistant coaches are not showing me much either, and Shula especially. Betcher doesn't have the pieces that he needs. He doesn't have edge rushers. You don't have edge rushers, your defense is going to stink no matter what. I mean, they stopped the run. They have pretty good secondary, but, the linebacker play in the middle is okay, but on the edge, they got nothing. Vernon, like you said, doesn't do much. Carter doesn't play enough. Baldwin is shot. I mean, what do you got there?
Let's take a second to analyze the best and one of the worst plays or series in the game. You get a great ball strip from Collins. OV picks it up and runs out of gas?
Yeah.
This is supposed to be an elite athlete at $80 million. Yeah. How did he get caught? I couldn't see it, of course, but I mean, is it possible that an athlete of his caliber gets caught?
It's possible. I mean, one of the defensive backs, one of the lighter guys caught him. So it's possible. I mean, it happened, but he should have been gone. Nobody should have been able to catch him. And you know what? The other thing, we talked about this play. You and I didn't, but I've talked with other people about it. Nobody blocked for the guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching him. How about blocking to give the guy a little bit? You see he's may not make it. Why don't you block for him? That would have helped.
That's a mentality, by the way. That's like what do they say? That's the dog in you that's not there.
There's no dog.
No.
Yeah, it's a sleeping dog.
There's not even a cat.
Yeah. It's more like a gerbil.
Yeah, exactly. Hamster.
Whatever. That's just. I was so irritated by that. I said, "Wow, if they could score on defense and special teams, that would really help." And here comes this fumble. Guy picks it up and he gets caught. I think he ran like 40 yards, but he should have been gone.
Yeah, like if you replace that with Clay Matthews, does Clay Matthews score? Yes, he does.
Of course he does. Von Miller, he scores.
Oh, yeah. Von Miller might score running backwards.
Yeah. This guy makes more money than him.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Just as much.
I don't get it. And I just don't get it. So, there's so many different things that happen in the course of the game. We talked about it last week. I love watching Brian Baldinger break the tape down.
Yes, he's good.
And it's really, really interesting because it starts off where, Eli's head's in the game and he's just getting, I think he got sacked 7 times.
Yep.
And, you can see, there's one play where Hernandez and Greco are both face down in the turf, like just lying face down in the turf while Eli's getting crushed. And you get 3 or 4 plays where Eli gets crushed. Then there's this one anomaly where he's got green pastures in front of him. All he needs to do is step up and let the rock fly. By that time, he's been bludgeoned and battered so many times, he never steps up and he just checks the ball down. So, it's a catch.
And there was some coverage sacks in that game too. So
yep, yeah, it's a catch.
How that happened, I don't know. But
well, again, it's either Eli shell shocked and there's a bad offensive line, or there's a bad offensive line that creates Eli to be shell shocked. But they, it just goes hand in hand with what's going on. Like, you can't, if you had a younger quarterback with a little less fear, maybe he steps up there and makes a play.
Yeah, I used to attribute it all to, the defense is crowding the box, but they don't even have to do that anymore. They're beating you with 3 guys on the front line.
Yes.
These guys, 5 can't block 3. That was so disgusting in this game. Matt Ioannidis, I think I'm saying his name right, just blew Spencer Pulley right out of East Rutherford last week. He just pushed him aside every play. And this wasn't even one of the Alabama guys. They have 2 Alabama kids in the front line, Payne and Allen. And this guy was their 3rd nose tackle that rotates in. He just owned them.
Yeah.
He said, I think he had 2 or 2.5 sacks in the game.
So there was a chance for them to, win that game. Do you agree with that?
Well, it was 7-3, 10-3, 13-6. I mean, you're within 1 score for at least 3/4 of the game. Yeah, it's definitely winnable, I would say, for a team that has some kind of ability.
Well, you also can't have your quarterback throw an interception in the red zone.
Well, let me tell you something. I watched Tampa Bay play Cincinnati because I had a lot of fantasy interest in the game.
Okay.
And Tampa Bay they have Mike Evans, Deshaun Jackson. They have Mr. Turnover Winston at quarterback.
Yep.
And his backup is Fitzpatrick, who turns the ball over a ton also. Okay, they have no running game to speak of. They're in Cincinnati. They scored 34 points. And they turned the ball over 5 times. Still scored 34 points. Giants turned the ball over twice. What they scored? 13, and 7 of it was garbage time.
Correct.
Why can't they do that? Not Andy Dalton. Winston is horrible. It's horrible.
That's why I was alluding to the fact that I don't know. I mean, Shula, Shermer, they just have to go for it. You have nothing to lose. See who can play. Throw the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And if you are going to throw the ball down the field, please throw it to your playmakers and not your 3rd and 4th wide receiver.
Or tight end.
Oh, my goodness.
Like I watched New England play. They have no running game. They have running backs who catch the ball. And every week they have 2 different wide receivers. And Gronkowski's finished. You know that.
He's done?
But they score 30 points a game. How do they do it? Don't tell me Brady's great. I don't want to hear that.
They throw the ball down the field. They go vertical.
They have coaching.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. They have a game plan. Okay? You don't come out there and say, well, we don't want Eli to get killed, so you can only throw it 3 yards at a time, and 3rd and 8, we're going to throw a 4-yard pass.
Well, how about this? I'll take the 4-yard pass. If it's a beautifully designed 4-yard pass, our screen game is the most embarrassing, play in the playbook. Eli looks right at Barkley the whole time. Yep. They don't let the rush in. They don't dunk it over the heads of the defensive players.
They let the rush in when they're not supposed to, and when they're supposed to, they don't.
I mean, we haven't had a screen game since Tiki Barber.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a disgrace. I think that everybody they have to take these 2 weeks and figure this out. I mean, they're not going to. This season's shot. That it's finished.
Yep. Well, here's the question I have for you.
If they go 4-4 in the last 8, that would be good. I would take that.
I would completely take that. That means they're not giving up like they did on McAdoo.
No,
but here's the question.
They're not going to give up because 36 guys on this roster are here in their first year, and they don't want to be back out on the street again. Some of these guys.
Yep. But if they had a different, let me ask you this. This is where, like you're around the team a whole lot more than me. If they had, and again, it's just a hypothetical. I'm assuming that Shula was forced on Shermer because Gettleman came from Carolina and he wanted to take care of one of his boys.
Shermer wanted, I think, another offensive coordinator. I think one of the guys from Minnesota, maybe the quarterback's coach.
Okay.
And they were denied.
Okay, that's where I was going.
I forget his name. It's either the guy in Philly or the guy in Minnesota. I'm not sure. And that's when Shula was introduced to him.
Yeah, because I feel like he was forced on Shermer. Shermer doesn't have any say because it's Gettleman's guy. And I really think that, like I said, I like Shermer. I think he's got, listen, we watched him do some great things in Minnesota.
Yep.
And now we're like, this is a complete black hole. So, and nobody's going to point the finger at Shula, but people should start pointing the finger at Shula that he's not given the right tools to Shermer to work with. He's got to have some of the blame. I'm wondering if he had his guy from Philly or his guy from Minnesota or anybody different, would we win 4 or 5 games? Because I
think they could be 4-4.
Okay.
If things broke the right way.
So I'm going to read.
That they're not a 1-7 team, and people, they're terrible. I said they're not that bad. They don't get blown out. That game, even when they lost to the Saints 33-16, that game was close most of the way. Until Kamara took that long run, 49-yard run. Another big play they gave up on the ground. Late in the game.
I'm going to read you a Twitter question that I got because it's right along the lines of what we're talking about. And Glenn from NY Underground.
He was actually on this podcast. He and I did a walk down memory lane, 1979, which you were probably too young to remember, but.
No, not bad. Not what you're talking about the old Scott Bruner days?
No, this was Phil Simms' first year. Scott Bruner wasn't there yet.
So Phil Simms got drafted in '79. No, I was still going to the games. I was just very small.
Your cone was much too young.
Yes.
But we talked about Simms and how good he was his first year, and then how crappy he was the next couple of years. Kept getting hurt. But, that was Ray Perkins' first. That was the first year of the George Young takeover.
Back then,
he had a lot of work to do.
Back then, my favorite running backs, Doug Coder and Rob Carpenter.
That's right. Coder was there. Carpenter, I think, came in '81. The year they made the playoffs. They traded to the Houston Oilers to get him.
Yep.
And he lifted that team right up. What a football player he was.
Yeah, he was the original 26.
Yeah, he was good. He turned that team around because they didn't have much of an offense, and they needed to run the ball. And Ray Perkins liked to run the ball, and he got his guy, so that worked out. Okay, let's read the Twitter question.
All right, so it says, let's see, where does it start here? I thought 2000. All right, meaning. Okay, this is from Glenn from the NYG Underground. Looking forward to some positive progress, but this is far from the case. At the bye, what do you think the team needs to do? They're 4-20 over the last 24 games and 1-17 versus NFC teams. It's the wilderness years.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
What do they need to do, John, to potentially get a 4-win season? What are they going to need to do, like from the bye, after the bye?
Well, here's the first. These aren't easy things to do. First things you got to do is you got to start making third down. Right now, they're only 35% on third down. That's awful in this league. You got to be at least 50, maybe 60, if you want to be successful. What's the Rams on third down? Think about that. Okay, the Giants have the tools to to get first downs when they need them. They don't get them. And then in the red zone, 40%. They score a touchdown 40% of their trips into the red zone. Unacceptable. You got to be 70%. The Saints are, I think, 80%. That's why they're in first place. That's the difference between a team that's 1-7 and a team that's 7-1. When you get down what Coughlin used to call the green zone, you punch it in. They don't do that. The play calling kind of tightens up. They don't have a running game. Well, you just drafted a running back number 2 overall. Don't tell me you don't have a running game. You know, oh, there's no room for this guy to run.
Roll it out.
Yeah.
Roll it out. Roll it out and hit the tight end. Roll it out.
I would go 4 wide. You got to spread the defense out.
Yeah.
You know, they're not getting the blocking either. You know, that's the other thing. These guys last week drove me crazy because they ran the ball 14 times. Goldman lost a yard when he ran it once. Barkley, I think, was 39 yards on 13 carries. But they put Eli back to pass 54 times in a 7-3 game. Now, you know football. What's harder to do, run block or pass block?
I guess it depends on what line. Our line stinks at both.
No, but the pass block takes a lot of energy out of it. You've got to
of
backpedal.
course.
You got to dig in. You know.
Yeah, I mean, you run block. You're firing off the line of scrimmage. I mean, there's a lot more technique when it comes to the pass blocking.
Right. So you're asking these guys. They're getting burned out because they got to pass block every play. Okay, and now they don't get into a groove. You know, you get owned on a pass play by the defensive lineman. Now comes a running play. Now you get to own him. Right? Now it's your turn. Now I get to hit you. You don't get to hit me. And that's the way you get blood in your mouth and you get a little rhythm on the line. They don't do that. They try a run. Does it work? Well, we're not going anywhere with this. But you're not going anywhere with your quarterback getting squashed every play either. You know, you've got to wear that defensive front down by running the ball. You've got to take some of the will out of them, and they don't do that.
I'd also like them to just, as we alluded to earlier, you know, with Glenn's question about what do, you need to go vertical because the game is, this Giants offense does nothing but go horizontal. When's the last time you're in the red zone and you just threw a fade in the corner for Odell to catch? It doesn't happen. Like, you're not even attempting it. Throw the ball in the corner on a fade and let it drop into Odell's hands. Sometimes I feel like they don't understand how good the kid is. You know, like the kid catches the ball, 8.5 out of 10 times. Throw him the ball, on the sideline or in the corner. But enough of this horizontal. The game cannot be won. As a coach, I mean, I played a lot of ball, and anytime you were going left to right, the coach would say, stop. It's a north and south game.
Yep. I agree.
And this entire team on the offensive side of the ball is all about going east and west. And there, you still need 10 yards, man. You're not getting very far if you're constantly catching a 3-yard pass when you need an 8-yard pass.
And I blame the receivers on some of those because they should force the issue and if it's 3rd and 7, go 8 yards, go out 8 yards. Don't stop 5 yards and turn around and then get hit. Oh, we got to take what they're giving us. We do? When do we get to take something?
Yeah, right.
Come on.
All right, here's the next Twitter question from Giant Dreamer at Giant. It's at Giant Dreaming. Question: should Getty resign gracefully at the end of the year? Forget the draft for now. He set us back years in terms of development. All the free agent wins. Let me see. All the free agent win now moves. I don't know what he means by that. Then Eli still has years left of evaluation. Roster moves, cuts, sold us a bill of goods and screwed us royally. Should he resign and start over?
No. Well, first of all, he may not have a choice because he's not a well man. We know that. You got to take that into account.
Correct.
His moves were, and people don't understand this. The Giants had to play Eli Manning this year. He was $20 million against the cap. You didn't have another quarterback, and if you did, you couldn't put him in. You can't have a $22 million quarterback sitting on the bench. He had to play this year, so they made the best of it. Let's get a left tackle. Let's get a running back. All right, let's try to change the offensive line. Let's give it a shot. They did. Doesn't work.
Agreed.
Okay? And they quickly, see, this is the thing Gettleman does, quickly pivots, cuts bait right away. And you see that happening now.
The only
they're moving on.
There's a handful of things I like, I would, I think back on, like I hated John Jerry. I really did.
He looks good now, though.
But he looks good now. And, why they signed Stewart. I mean, it feels like Gettleman threw him a bone,
Yeah.
and that just really rubs me wrong.
Yep.
So there's a couple things that I look back on. Like, everyone thought Eli had a little bit. Not everybody. A lot of people, smart football people, thought if you give Eli a line, he'll make something happen for you. I didn't expect anything more than a 7-9 season. And I don't think Giant Dreamer, I don't think that Getty should resign or Gettleman should resign if he's not forced to because of his health. But he's going to have to evaluate how to get this team back on track. And no one in the New York market is going to wait 3 or 4 years. So he's got to make a lot of moves now.
Yep.
JPP comes off the books, so he's getting that money back.
Yeah.
He has 3 glaring holes to make a difference in, and I don't know how he's going to do it, but he doesn't have a choice, and that's he needs a quarterback, he needs a pass rusher, and he needs an offensive line. And I don't care how they do it. It has to be done in such a monstrous way where if you get one guy and that guy doesn't work out, you haven't done any good. You need 2 and 3 guys. You need 3 pass rushers, 3 offensive linemen, and you got to go out and draft a great quarterback and hope you hit on him. So Gettleman shouldn't retire, but he does have his work cut out for him. So I hope the people on his team are ready to, roll their sleeves up.
Yeah, they have a building full of people that work around the clock trying to improve this roster. I think people think it's just Dave Gettleman sitting in his office twiddling his thumbs. There's like 50 people doing this.
Yep.
If you ever go in the building, you're like, what does that guy do? What does that guy do? Oh, he's a scout. He's this, he's that. He's a development guy. They have 1 million people working it. They're all working on this. The problem is there's 32 teams in the league. They're all trying to do the same thing. That's like having 32 supermarkets on the same street. How are you going to differentiate yourself from one? You're not. You have to work with what you have and hope you get lucky. But you can be smart about things, and I think they're already smart. They made a lot of changes. They didn't luck out on a lot of the changes. You replace 30 guys with 30 guys that aren't much better, or even if I don't think they're better at all, some of them. And that's the chance you take. But you got to keep trying. So they have a nucleus. You could pretty much figure out who that is. Manning is not in it. He's not in the plans. I think he gets released at the end of this season. He's only $6.2 million against the cap in 2019. It doesn't make sense to keep him on the roster because if you do, you got to pay him $22 million. They're not going to do that.
No, you're basically looking at a short list of OBJ, Barkley, Collins, Shepard, Hernandez, Hill.
Yep.
Zoe Carter, Tomlinson, and McIntosh.
That's it. Those are your guys.
And Solder only because you paid him.
Solder for another year. After that, his guarantees are up, and you can dump him. See, that's why you can't get rid of him. If you go to SpotTrack.com, and this is what I tell people to do, you can look up how a guy is being paid and what he's already been paid. Okay, so you have to see what's still on the books for next year. And if you have to look what the dead cap number is, what's gained by keeping him and what's gained by cutting him.
Agreed.
So a guy like Vernon has an $8 million dead cap figure, and he has a $20 million salary guaranteed. So that's $12 million you would save by cutting him.
I can't see him being on the roster.
Oh, he's gone too. Yeah, he's gone. First of all, the underperformance is one thing. I mean, I think the guy has ability, but the underperformance is one thing. But the fact that he got hurt 2 years in a row, that doesn't help. He missed 4 games last year, 5 games this year. Right then and there, you lose your value. So I think he's gone. Unfortunately, they're going to have to find another guy now, and they're going to have to pay him, I think, $8 million and then $4 million. So he's got a lot. He's got a lot of dead cap left. That was Jerry Reese who did that. So
wow, that name is taboo in my world.
Yes, and Mark Ross was on TV this week, pretty much laughing at the Giants' misfortunes these days, even though he's the face of a lot of it.
Did you see the piece?
No.
I thought Sean O'Hara was going to come across the table and choke him out.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was well liked anyway. Every time I saw the guy, he was dressed as if, he was going to the prom.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was living large.
Yeah. And, he's one of the Ivy League guys who thought he knew better than everybody. And, I just felt like saying, what is it, Travis Beckham and Ramses Barden? What were you thinking there? What about James Brewer?
Oh, boy.
He was good, too, wasn't he?
Oh, well, you can go crazy with Mosley, McCants, Clint Sintum. Marvin Austin, yeah.
All great players.
My favorite would be
Montre Moore.
J. Ron Hosley might be my favorite.
Yeah, he plays bigger than he is. I love that line. He plays bigger than he is.
There is not.
Is he Mighty Mouse?
Hey, listen, I'm sorry, but if someone drafted a 178-pound corner in the NFL, they should be relieved of their duty on the spot.
In the third round.
Oh, my God.
I could get a guy working at a gas station that weighs 178 pounds. Put him out on the field. For nothing. That's ridiculous. So, I think that the guys at the Giant Insider did a podcast yesterday about that, and they were blasting this guy. But you know what? Let him have his laugh. I think the last laugh is going to be on him because no NFL team is going to hire this guy. You don't see his phone ringing off the hook, and you definitely don't see Jerry Reese going on any interviews, do you?
No. They're running away from that.
Yeah, because they put together a horrible roster.
Year after year after year.
Yeah. Hey, they drafted some good players. They did draft Beckham. They did draft JPP. Shepard. I mean, you can name it on one hand. You can name who they drafted.
The thing about it is, though, and I've had this debate before. I've written about it on NY Giants Rush before. You're getting paid to hit on your third, fourth, and fifth guy. The first round and the second round guys should be kind of easy. Like, again, I'm not saying it is easy because the draft is a crapshoot, but with all the stats and analytics that you have, like, the first, second round guys are ball players. Like, where you're getting paid is to make the most of those third, fourth, and fifth round guys, like the David Deals of the world, or like where's that guy? Where's the guy that you drafted in the fifth round, found him out of Southern Illinois, and the guy became a Pro Bowl, staple? Like, where's that guy?
Yeah.
Never did they pull out a draft pick out of the third, fourth, or fifth round that had any merit.
Nope. They just whiffed on them all, and we talked about it for many years. They take a guy, he's got upside. How about a guy, there's two types of energy, potential and kinetic. Potential is great. You could watch it until something happens. Kinetic is something that's constantly moving. Okay? We want more kinetic guys that hit the field running. We don't want to have a guy sitting on the bench, helmet in hand, waiting, to develop. You can't develop people in the NFL.
Not anymore.
No. They have to have some kind of ability. If called on, they have to be able to play. I mean, you can sit a guy down. You can dry dock a guy here and there, but not every single guy. That's what they were doing. We're drafting for next year. Okay. The Patriots do that. Okay. But if they need the guy, they put him out on the field. The Patriots definitely draft a year ahead. But they also have guys on the field that are performing. They may not need to call on some of these guys. How many times do you see New England trade their first round pick? How many times do you see their top pick mysteriously go on IR for the year? Not even hurt. Oh, he's got a hamstring. Yeah. You know what? He's not ready to play. We'll keep him for next year. We don't need him.
That organization finds football players. They just flat out find football players.
And they coach them.
Yeah, and there's no divas. They just play football.
How do they find 5 offensive linemen every year? How do they do it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
How do you take a quarterback and make a receiver out of him, and a lacrosse player and make a receiver out of him? Take a guy, out of the junkie bin, make a receiver out of him, and then Gronkowski with one arm,
It's pretty amazing, right?
He looks like RoboCop out there.
Well, I want to segue to something because I need an opinion from you.
Go ahead.
We cut a player this past year, and that player went on to another team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we drafted his replacement while this player was on the team.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about, but keep going.
We released that player. That player went to another team. 2 weeks ago, or not a full 2 weeks, a week and a half ago, we traded that player to another team. And then the guy that we had in that spot retired mid-season. What does that tell you about, A, what's going on in the organization, and how we're evaluating talent, and how do we fix it? Because you drafted Eli Apple to replace DRC.
Yep.
You cut DRC. DRC went to play for Gruden and was like,
and he just retired. Yeah.
Yeah, he flat out just said it is not worth playing for John Gruden. I'm done.
Right.
And he retired. And then we traded away the guy that we drafted to replace DRC. So now we're 2 corners down. I mean, what does the future hold for the cornerback?
And we would have been 3 corners down if somebody gave a good offer for Jenkins.
That was my next point, is that, and then you got the guy on the other side that's really hot and cold, and he's getting paid a lot of money. Can't believe he's still on the team. So even moving forward, we talk about the offensive line, the pass rush, and the quarterback. We've now created a 4th issue, which is we have no cornerbacks.
Well, here's how I read that. When they traded Apple, to me, the beginning of the year, they said, he's going to have a clean slate. He came out and he played pretty well, but then he got hurt, missed 2 or 3 games. Then he came back, and sometimes his effort was there. Most of the time it was. Sometimes it wasn't. And I think Gettleman, in the back of his mind, said, if I get any kind of feasible offer for this guy, I'm trading him. Because of what happened last year. And then he saw that he got hurt this year. And he's like, is this guy worth it? Somebody's going to ring my phone. They're going to say, we'll give you a 4th and a 7th for this guy. All right, I'll take it. And that's what happened there.
How it's probably not realistic, but I got to ask, like, if you're Gettleman, wouldn't you pick up the phone and call DRC?
I would have. But, that's only if you're going for it. They're not going for anything right now. They're going. What they're doing is they're probably trying to see how their young players, pan out.
We don't have any young players in the defensive backfield that are going to pan out.
No, except for the Penn State kid, Haley. He might pan out.
He may stick, but he's he'll be a slot corner.
Yes, that's what he's going to do.
DRC was tight with Collins. They could have brought him in and let him fill the gap. Like, we're getting, I got it that they're kind of fed up with Apple, but it doesn't make any sense because if you get rid of Apple and you're trying to get rid of Jenkins, they're just going the wrong direction. And I know
they're kind of blown. If they could have blown it up, they would have done it, but they didn't get their price. So they didn't get their price.
Your bat phone's ringing.
I don't know who's calling me. Somebody from a 215 area code.
Well, I was going to say, maybe it's John Mara saying, stop picking on me.
No, John Mara charges a lot for everybody to get into that stadium. He knows that. So he's fair game.
Well, let me tell you, I tweeted it out this week. I get these surveys from the Giants. I'm a season ticket holder.
Correct.
I just don't want to hear it. I don't want the survey. How do you like the team? Like, what can I tell you? What can I say? It's always a question. Do you like the direction the team is going in? Do you like, this and that? Like, what is there to say? Like, all I know is...
Why does he have to send that out? What are we, the Jets? You don't send that out.
Well, we get it twice a year on top of the fact that they've devaluated my tickets. Nobody wants to go. The stadium's full of the opposing team's fans.
I know.
And it's just, the whole thing is such a mess. I mean, it is such a mess from top to bottom. Like, it's going to take a minor miracle to fix this thing.
You know what? In the NFL, you can go worst to first and vice versa in 1 year.
If you have what?
Yeah, well, that's different.
No, but I'm saying
I'm going to tell you right now, if they fix the red zone and third down problems, they're 4-4, and nobody's talking about this.
Agreed. But I'll also tell you that the Browns stink. They just fired their head coach and their offensive coordinator. But guess what? The fans love Baker Mayfield.
Right.
We don't have a quarterback that people love. We have a quarterback that people like, and then we have a quarterback that people hate.
People are tired of looking at it. That's the thing.
Yep.
They love him. If they said this week is going to be Eli's last game, the place would be jammed. They'd be cheering him. They'd carry him out on their shoulders.
Only because they knew it was over and they wanted to give him his farewell.
And he deserves that, okay? But
Yes.
that's what needs to happen. Unfortunately, there's nobody to take his place now because the kid that was going to take his place is going to get suspended.
Yeah, I don't listen. That's another segue. I don't know what. I mean, I saw Garofalo saying that. I don't know if you saw it. He came out about an hour ago and said that he's done this numerous times in this construction zone.
Right.
And I'm not picking on the guy, but you're driving a Jaguar.
You've never played an NFL game and you're driving a Jaguar.
That's my point. It's like, look, dude, if you're driving a Chevy Tahoe and you're driving a workman car or something, a little bit more low key, but you're driving a Jag and you're making an illegal turn, and then you've done it so many times you think you could get away with it, and now you're almost knocking a cop over.
Yeah.
And the second cop had to pull you over. So it's an issue. Like, I don't care. He said, hey, I played with the Giants and I'm late for practice. That very well might be true. He might be late for practice, but, you're only going to get snagged. It's still New York, and, you're only so big unless you're a Eli Manning or a Lawrence Taylor or something, and you got to be a little bit more humble about it. So now I don't know what's going to happen to him. I don't know if they're being hard on him.
If you look at the conduct policy of the league, I looked it up yesterday. I have a copy of it. And any kind of disorderly conduct, any type of run-in with law enforcement where you get locked up, it's not like they mistaken identity or anything like that. You resisted arrest, which he did, and got locked up, and there's felony charges against you. That's a violation of the policy, and the league can step in and suspend you. He could get anywhere from 2 to 4 games. And if they decide to defer it to the team for discipline, the team would probably have to suspend him for at least 2 games. So, he could miss a half the season, this kid.
Yeah, he played this thing 100% wrong.
Well, he didn't expect that to happen to him. But that's the other thing. But if the cop pulls you over, you don't roll up your window on the guy and take off.
So, which leads me to, if Laletta plays, if Laletta's backing up Tom Brady, does this ever happen?
I don't know. First of all, if you're one heartbeat from, well, he isn't really one heartbeat from the starting job because he hadn't dressed all year. But if you know you have a potential that you're going to play this year, wouldn't you want to be at the facility before 8 o'clock in the morning? Because that's what time it was. He was basically almost late.
I'm taking it a step further and thinking that if he had the fear of God in him, he wouldn't have done it. Like, because I guarantee if he was backing up Brady and he knew that Belichick would cut him, if something happened, you bet he would wait in line to make the turn that he needed.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's my thing. If Shermer had put, had some type of policy up front, like, hey, don't mess up. You represent the New York Giants, whether you're at the club or the library. Right. Don't embarrass us.
Okay. Oh, I agree. The thing is that now he's going to be useless. He's not going to get the development. He may be able to play a couple of games. We don't know. We don't even know if they want him to. At this point, they may say, you know what? We're gonna move on. If this kid isn't what we thought he was, that one chance and done is kind of a shame. But this was his opportunity. It was right in front of him, and he blew it.
I wanted to see the kid play. I know he had a good Senior Bowl, but I would love to send a message and cut him.
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be hard to do. That's going to set you back even further. But the thing is that if he's not going to be able to play, if he's not going to be able to come in this year and relieve Manning, because that's what was supposed to happen, and you could tell by the way Pat Sherman was talking, we'll see, he said. That was before he knew this kid got arrested. And then after that, it was like, this is unfortunate, and we're going to have to figure something else out. And Alex Tanny is certainly not the answer.
And I'm assuming there's no other QBs on a practice squad anywhere.
No. They don't have any other ones. That's it, just these three guys. And, Eli's taking every snap, so.
Davis Webb doesn't have a job. He's on a practice squad.
He's on the Jets practice squad, yeah. And why would you want him back? You cut him.
I don't. I just don't know if Tanny's actually capable.
They liked him better than Davis Webb, apparently. So, nope. Put it to you this way: Davis Webb is on a practice squad, which means there's teams out there that could use a quarterback. I'm sure halfway through the season, guys get hurt, whatever. Nobody's called him.
Yeah.
So that's got to tell you something about this kid. Even though I liked him, I thought he was a hard worker. I didn't think he was a particularly good game, snap by snap quarterback. I thought he had a pretty good arm. He looked good in practice. In preseason games, he was hot and cold. When he was cold, he was really cold. But then he made some nice throws. So I don't know why I was kind of shocked they cut him. I thought they would definitely keep him at least another year.
I didn't see he had that it factor. Like,
no, he didn't have the it factor, but I thought he was definitely pro material.
Do you remember in the preseason game when Laletta rolled out, slammed on the brakes, and that he juked that linebacker, and that linebacker wound up blowing his ACL?
Yes.
And then Laletta dove in the end zone. When he did that, I automatically thought, okay, this kid's got some moxie. You know what? Like, he's not afraid of the big boy league. So, I know he doesn't. He comes from Richmond, but
stop knocking Richmond. It's a good program.
It may be, but they don't play anybody that can scare you.
I know.
Find me a guy that came out of Richmond the last 10 years.
Besides Loletta and Kerry Wynn and Cooper Taylor.
Oh, Cooper Taylor. I thought Cooper Taylor went to Rice.
No.
He's a Richmond guy?
He was a Richmond Spider.
Okay, you win. But I do kill the program a little bit, but just in fun.
I noticed they're all the Giants.
Yeah, that's another. Remember that for years we would all draft guys from Troy?
Yeah. But we used to get good guys from Troy. O.C. Manura and Lawrence Tynes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I just thought with Laletta making that play in preseason, he kind of opened my eyes up a little bit. That he wasn't afraid. Davis Webb always looked like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, you're right. It was too big for him. The moment was too big for him. There's an interesting story about Davis Webb. When he got to Texas Tech, he was his backup was Baker Mayfield.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then they brought in Patrick Mahomes.
And yeah, because Mayfield wound up transferring.
Mayfield transferred to Oklahoma. I think Webb went first. He played a year there. And then he went to Cal. And then Mahomes played at Texas Tech, and the rest is history. So that's just a backstory. That doesn't mean anything.
No, it's a great backstory because it proves that Baker Mayfield and Pat Mahomes were better than him then, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They both kicked him out of his job. So that's Mayfield, I think, is going to be a very big talent in this league. Right now he's on a terrible team. He's on another head coach. Greg Williams is the head coach now. That just shows you where they're at. This guy's got a head coaching job? Give me a break.
So my last question for you is, can the Giants beat the Bears or the Niners or anyone else that's coming up? Can they win a game here?
I think they could win probably 2 or 3 games. If they go 3-5, I think they could beat San Francisco. I don't think San Francisco's that good. C.J. Beathard is hurt. He's probably not going to play this week, so they're going to have a rookie quarterback in there. Maybe that'll spill over to the game with the Giants. That will help. Problem that what won't help is the game's on the road, and the Giants are horrible out there. The Bears are too good, especially if Mac plays. They won't be able to stop him.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Eli better just have a cold or get the flu that week.
Yeah, they're in trouble. The Bears aren't that good of a team. I mean, they're better than people thought they'd be because they made that trade. But they're better than the Giants.
Well, let's run it down. San Francisco, win or loss?
I'm going to say they win that game. If Beathard plays, they don't. If he doesn't play that game, they have a chance.
Tampa Bay.
No.
Eagles.
No.
Bears.
No.
Redskins.
Definitely not.
Titans.
No.
Colts.
No.
Cowboys.
I'm going to give them a win there because that game's here.
What? All right, so
you know why? You know why? Because they played Dallas very well here, and I think that by that time, I think they'll be ready for a win. So that'll be win number 2. Who else you got?
That's it. So
That's
you're
it?
basically you're saying after the bye, they're going to beat the Niners and Cowboys, which is the first game after the bye and the last game of the season.
Right. There could be another win in there.
You said no.
Tennessee doesn't score a lot of points, so maybe they can win that game. Maybe.
Because you got Niners, Bucks, Eagles.
They won't beat the Bucks because if they score less than 20 points, they're going to lose.
It's at home.
It doesn't matter. And they have Deshaun Jackson, who just kills the Giants.
Yep. And they'll lose to the Eagles and the Bears.
Yes, they won't beat the Eagles in Philly. No way.
And then you've got Redskins.
The Eagles' game is away, right?
Eagles is away 1:00.
Yeah, and the Bears' game is away?
Bears is home.
Oh, okay. Well, they still won't win that game.
Then Redskins away.
Either.
Then Redskins away on the 9th of December.
They're not going to win that game. The Redskins have then they got Ha Clinton Dix this week.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah, they got him from Green Bay yesterday.
Yep. I mean, they're trying to make a move, right?
Yeah, and I think Alex Smith. The Redskins are a type of team that keeps they keep the opponent in the game, but they have a way to win it because Alex Smith I think is pretty good.
I actually like Alex Smith a lot too.
Yeah.
So your last 3 games is Titans at home on the 16th of December.
They might win that game. Tennessee is okay, but I don't think they don't score a lot of points.
Is that Vrabel? Is he the coach?
Yes, Mike Vrabel is the coach.
Then, of course, you go to the Colts, and Andrew Luck's going to put 35 on them.
Forget it. The Colts are hot. The Colts started out, I think, 2-5, down at 3-5. They may win the rest of their games. They got everybody back now.
And then you end the season on the 30th of December against the Cowboys at home.
They could win that game. I don't know why. I just have a feeling. I don't have any. There's no scientific method to my thinking here. But, it's just a division game. And it's just one of those games that everybody will probably bet against the Giants, and the Giants will win.
Like a Christmas present?
Yeah. And everybody say, whoa, we won the last game. Big deal. And they'll probably knock them out of the number 1 overall pick by doing it.
So then you've got,
right?
Yeah. I was trying to ignore you just said that.
I know you were.
So yeah, because just the thought of it, my mind would just blow up.
Yeah. Sick.
So you're looking at 3 wins, potentially 4. I don't see them. I honestly can't see them winning a game outside the 49ers.
Yeah, there's some bad teams in this league. If you watch some of these games, a team will look good one week and then they'll look terrible the next. Then there's teams that do the same thing every game, like Tampa Bay scores a lot of points every game. They don't win every game, but they score a lot. So you don't think the Giants are going to stop them, do you? There's no pressure on the quarterback?
The only win that I think they could actually pull off is beating the Redskins if the Redskins, if they have the division in hand and they're maybe kind of... No, you don't think so?
No, they won't. The Giants are going to go down there. I think it'll probably be the same type of game they played here and had a chance to win, but they won't win it. The Redskins don't score a lot of points, but they'll hold the Giants down because their defensive front is just too good for them. We saw what happened. They got manhandled. Unless the Giants change their strategy a little bit.
Yeah. Don't hold your breath.
That's not going to happen.
Well, there you have it, folks. It's the Giants, guys, and we are predicting a 3 or 4-win season.
That's not bad because that means, they'll probably go 2-6 or maybe 3-5 on the back end of the season. That's better than the first half.
I heard someone today that that the Giants are looking at the kid from Duke. I'm like, if they draft a quarterback from Duke,
These are Daniel Jones you're talking about. Now, let's not, I know he's wearing number 17 for Duke.
Oh, my
goodness. Which was Dave Brown's number. Dave Brown's number at Duke was 7, not 17. So
either way.
Let's not get crazy. And he's 6'5", like Dave Brown was, but he's a lot better prospect than Dave Brown.
Oh, my goodness. It cannot happen.
He's coached by David Cutcliffe, who was the Manning's quarterback coach for many years. And I think he was Eli's head coach at Ole Miss. He runs the Manning camp with them.
But he's a Duke quarterback.
Yeah, but Duke's winning in the SEC. You should watch a few games.
I'm going to have to because I still like the kid Locke.
I don't like him at all.
No,
I don't
really?
think he's as good as you think. He's up against the best competition in the world. But so is Daniel Jones. They're also in the SEC, right? No, Duke's in the ACC.
I was going to say Duke's ACC.
Duke's ACC, but they still play great teams.
Man, I don't know. I will forever be gun shy about Duke quarterbacks.
Yeah, I know, but this guy's a little different. So we hope. I mean, I've seen him play. I've watched the films, and Dave Brown. Unfortunately, just wasn't worth the number 1 pick. If you took Dave Brown in the 4th or 5th round, you would say, okay, that's what he was.
It was a supplemental draft.
It was the supplemental draft. They sacrificed their number 1 pick. George Young did that. He took a shot.
Yeah.
And, kid had Dan Reeves as a coach. I mean, he had it all going for him. It just didn't have the team. Didn't have it around him.
Yeah, if Herbert comes out, he'll still be the number 1.
Yeah, that's why but is he ready for the NFL? That's what you have to think about.
I don't think any of these kids are ready for the NFL. Just, they either have the... I mean, listen, Josh Rosen's doing everything he can in Arizona. Arizona stinks.
Yeah, and he was the most pro-ready of the whole group, right?
It's hard. I mean, I don't know, because I'm hot and cold on Darnold. Some days he looks like Joe Montana, and then some days he looks like a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, but Rosen, they said, was the most pro-ready.
Yeah.
He's getting squashed out there.
Yeah, because he's on a terrible team.
But some games he looks good. Some plays, hey, look at that throw. Look at it. He looked great there. Then the next play he's getting creamed. So
yeah, he can sling it.
So, I don't think it would have been wise for the Giants to take any of these guys over Barkley, in my opinion.
Even if you took them, John, they would be they either wouldn't start, or B,
they wouldn't have started this year.
Yeah. And then again, you're rebuilding. So what's the rookie quarterback's just going to get his head beat in anyway?
That's right. I didn't even think they would get Barkley because I thought Cleveland would be smart enough to take Barkley.
And then go get Mayfield.
I think they could have gotten Mayfield with the 4th pick. You don't know. I thought the Giants were going to take Bradley Chubb.
Oh, yeah, I thought they were gonna take Rosen.
Yeah, I mean, we both have. I thought Chubb was definitely the kind of guy they wanted because, he's doing pretty good in Denver. I think he's got 8 or 9 sacks, which isn't bad for a half a season.
Yeah, so does JPP for that matter.
Yeah, I know. JPP has 8. Romeo Okwara has 5. Devin Kennard has 5.
Oh, my goodness.
So, that's 20 sacks from guys you cut over the winter.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we're stuck with OV and Martin.
Right. So, we only got 10 sacks as a team. So, that's unnerving. All right, I think we've said enough. Until next time. This has been the Giants, guys. Craig, you want to give out your call?
Yeah, nygiantsrush.com. Check it out. Always good stuff up there. Actually, the podcasts are up there. You can get them there or on iTunes, if I'm not mistaken. and a couple other places.
iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher,
Yeah, they know.
Podbean, you name it.
Download it, pass it on to your friends. We want to grow the show, and if you want, send us more, more questions. We'll read them on air, and we hope you guys like the material. And we'll catch up with you guys next week.
That's great. Don't forget to go to GiantsGuys.com and also USA Today's GiantsWire for all your latest Giants news. Until next time.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
That's it. Let's hope there's more good the second half of the season. All right, I'm out.